December 15th, 1944, Twinwood, Bedfordshire. Fog clings to the field. At 13:55, a Norseman shudders down the strip and lifts into a low grey ceiling. 3 aboard, no radio beacon, no second engine. By nightfall, silence. America's most famous band leader is between Beachy Head and Paris, and then he isn't. The official story is simple: icing, disorientation, a failing heater, case closed. But that's not where this story ends. That's where the questions begin. We're going to test that neat explanation against RAF logs, weather records, and pilot procedures. And you'll decide which sky Glenn Miller fell through. The official story under frost. To understand why he was in that airplane at all, we need to go back. Miller had moved his Army Air Forces band from London's danger to Bedford's quiet, then pushed to follow the front to Paris. A scheduled hop on December 14th was scrubbed by weather. The next day, Lieutenant Colonel Norman Bessel offered a seat. Miller accepted as a casual passenger, unauthorized off the formal ledger, and outside his chain of command. The aircraft was a Nordine C-64 Norseman. 1 engine, high wing. Rugged on paper, but vulnerable in cold, wet air. Carburetor icing is the invisible thief of power. Supercooled moisture flashes to ice in the intake, strangling the engine unless the carb heat system keeps the throat warm. Delays stacked at Twinwood. Mist, low cloud, a field flying on feel. At 13:55, the Norseman clawed up and turned south. Observers tracked it past Beachy Head between 14:30 and 14:45. Then nothing over France. No mayday, no debris on shore. The 8th Air Force didn't realize the plane was missing until later. Schaff didn't hear until December 18th. That lag would matter. Here's the official finding. In January 1945, the 8th Air Force inquiry concluded a combination of pilot error, mechanical malfunction, and poor weather brought the Norseman down over water. The probable chain, icing conditions, disorientation inside cloud, and failure or mismanagement of the carburetor heater. The weather records agree on the setup: sub-freezing air aloft, advection fog, and a known icing layer over the channel that day. What about the pilot? Flight Officer John R. Stewart Morgan had time in type and standard procedures drilled into him. Monitor carb air temperature, apply heat early, accept a loss of power to keep the intake clear, and avoid lingering invisible moisture near freezing. But he was flying a single-engine airplane into widespread cloud over cold water. That raises the baseline risk. If power sagged and altitude bled, options vanished fast. Meanwhile, Basil was in the right seat. He had urgency. Paris arrangements, a band to move, a deadline. Decision pressure is a quiet accelerant. Do you wait for a broader clearance window or take the first hole in the weather? They took the hole. Micro story. The band rolled into Paris on the 18th and set up in a drafty hall. The phone on a wooden table stayed quiet. No orders. No leader. They rehearsed standards for an audience that might never hear them. The official story fits the forecast. Here's the first strange thing. Silence leaves room for more than one truth. The bombs that fell where no one was looking. While the Norseman was slipping into cloud, something else was happening out over the channel. Bomber Command had heavy metal in the air. Lancasters and Halifaxes returning from scrubbed or diverted sorties. Weather had closed targets. Standing orders were simple. Don't land with live ordnance. Use the designated jettison boxes off the coast. dump safely, come home light. Here's the first strange thing. Those boxes, plotted like rectangles on a map, sat along lanes that southbound traffic also used. The RAF logs place multiple crews timing their drops in the same early afternoon window when observers last saw the Norseman past Beachy Head. Parallel lines, different altitudes, same sky. Pilot debriefs talk about the routine of it. The navigator reads coordinates. The bomb aimer checks the racks. The pilot flies straight and level long enough to clear the belly. In low cloud, you see nothing beneath you. You trust the box. You pull. And the bombs tumble into grey air. A small low craft below has no warning. No radar on the Norseman. No beacon audible in that weather. Just the sudden problem of steel falling from an unseen ceiling. But that's not where this story ends. Because the best modern research pushes back hard. Dennis Sprague's conclusion, built on declassified records and time correlation, is blunt. Beyond any doubt, RAF Lancasters didn't cause the crash. The friendly fire theory, he says, doesn't fit the logs. The official story holds the ground. So which is it? Let's test the overlap using what we can verify. Weather first. An icing layer over the channel would force a pilot to manage power and altitude constantly. Carb heat robs horsepower. Ice on the wings lifts less air. You descend, slowly at first, then more as power fades. If Morgan was descending to stay in clear air that never arrived, could his path have intersected a jettison box? Yes, as a chain of plausibility. Proven? No. Altitude matters. Standard channel. Crossing altitudes for small transports aim to stay above low weather when possible. Jettison altitudes for heavies varied but often sat below cruising height to avoid scattering bombs. If the Norseman bled down toward 2,000 or 3,000 feet in heavy moisture, and a Lancaster dumped through cloud from higher, the vertical separation might still protect them. Might? Without a mayday, we're left with geometry and silence. And timing matters more. Do RAF logs place the main jettison activity before 1445, the last sighting window near Beachy Head, or after? Sprague argues the critical dumps align later, away from the Norseman's projected lane. That pushes the friendly fire window shut. It doesn't slam it. It nudges it toward unlikely. Micro-story. A Lancaster navigator marks the box on his chart, pencil smudged from damp gloves. He calls the turn. The bomb doors yaw open. He watches the last marker flare, puff and drift. Then he feels the aircraft lift as the load leaves. He never knows what's beneath that cloud. He never will. Here's the tension we can't escape. There's no wreckage with bomb shrapnel to convict, and no debris field at all to clear the RAF. No mayday to narrate an engine failure. Just a plane that lifted, a track that ends in fog, and official paperwork that points to weather. The evidence is circumstantial. The official story is simple. The open water keeps its secrets. Sprague's case deserves weight. He had the logs. He cross-referenced returns and dumps. He found no alignment that would put bombs over the Norseman's last plotted lane and time. If you accept that, the friendly fire theory fades into the background as an elegant but unneeded addition. Occam's razor cuts clean. Icing plus single engine equals fatal descent over water. But there's one more angle. Weather meets ordnance is a chain, not a singular cause. An icing descent could bring a low, slow transport into a space where jettison happens without warning. Two truths can coexist. Icing starts the fall. Bombs finish it. Do we have proof? No. Do we have a coherent sequence that fits human behavior and the day's chaos? Yes, and the silence still speaks. A bomb strike from above doesn't produce a radio call if it kills power and structure instantly. A full engine stoppage in cloud also takes your voice if it takes your altitude in seconds. Either way, the channel swallows the only witness that matters. So where does that leave us? With two explanations that are consistent with weather data, RAF procedures, and pilot records. The first needs nothing beyond ice and bad luck. The second requires an unlucky intersection in a crowded wartime sky. Both live in the same fog bank. Both fit the day. Only one happened. Act 3. The unauthorized flight and the trail that went cold. Now, let me tell you about the decision that shouldn't have happened. Miller took that seat as a casual passenger. No formal authorization forwarded up his chain. The 8th Air Force learned the airplane was missing after the fact. Schaff didn't know until December 18th. In a peacetime system, alarms would have rung fast. In December 1944, they didn't. The war was eating bandwidth everywhere. That gap mattered. Search orders lagged. Weather slammed the door. A light debris field, if any, broke apart in winter seas. Fishermen dragged nets over nothing. No oil slick reported. No washed-up cargo tagged to the Norsemen. The trail didn't just go cold, it went underwater. Inside the cockpit, procedure under stress turns brittle. Carb heat management is simple on paper. Get ahead of the ice, pull early, accept the power loss. Watch carb air temperature, not just manifold pressure, but stress shifts attention. Fuel line icing has different tells than carb throat icing. A hydraulic leak brings another set of smells and needles. One misread, one missed step, and a manageable sag becomes a cascading failure. A single-engine pilot knows the rule: altitude is time. In cloud, that account drains quicker than you think. The Norsemen had a pattern in winter. Later accidents in cold, moist conditions show that carburetor freeze could arrive fast and hard. The history detectives team compared cases and found the same weak link. One carb, one engine, one failure mode in the wrong air. You don't need conspiracy to explain a crash like that. You need physics, weather, and urgency. Meanwhile, rumors sprouted like weeds. He died in a Paris brothel. He was in Allied HQ when a German unit attacked. He was on a secret mission. Good stories burn bright, but weigh them against the logs in our hand. Observers tracked the Norseman past Beachy Head. It never appeared over France. Schaff didn't even know he was en route until Monday. If he'd reached Paris, there'd be a footprint, an entry, a witness under oath, something that survives scrutiny. There isn't. Sprague's case pulls us back to ground. The declassified report points to icing mechanics. He states there's no evidence of a bomb strike and no operational pathway for RAF jettisons to hit that aircraft in that window. His position is that the only remaining question is the location of a wreck that almost certainly lies under the channel. And still, the human cost lands with more force than any theory. Helen Miller answered a call from Hap Arnold. A general who was too busy for almost everything else made time for this. President Truman and Eisenhower paid tribute. Doolittle's line cuts through the noise. Next to a letter from home, your band is the greatest morale booster in the ETO. That was the stake in that small cockpit. a band leader carrying morale like cargo. We've tested 3 paths against what we can verify: icing alone, icing intersecting a jettison box, and rumor. The first 2 live inside the records: weather charts, RAF logs, pilot procedures. The third doesn't. War leaves room for legends. It also leaves paperwork. On this one, the paperwork points to a cold engine over colder water and a timeline that went quiet too long to save anything but questions. Conclusion. The official story is simple. The evidence is circumstantial. The channel kept its answer. 2 explanations remained credible: an icing-driven failure ending over water, or an icing descent intersecting a jettison box, both consistent with logs, weather, and procedure. We may never know which sky Glenn Miller fell through. If this made you think, subscribe to War Echoes for the history they don't teach in school. Drop a comment: icing alone or icing plus jettison. I read everyone. And if you want the next untold chapter, hit that like and subscribe button. We look where official history stops.